Hey, how's it going? I'm Andy Blanks. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had that moment where you've seen somebody and you just have this moment of clarity and there's a revelation, a realization that they are all in, whether it's an athlete at the top of their game or a performer, right, a musician, but there's a moment where you watch them and you realize, man, this is the result of somebody who has given everything they have to do whatever it is you're watching them do, right? It's a powerful moment. It's a moment of clarity where you're like, oh my gosh, this person has completely committed themselves, and look at the result. On the other end of that spectrum, we can see people, especially in athletics, right? We see people with a lot of potential, or maybe even in academics, when you know they have potential, but they're not all in and they underperform. And it's frustrating. In fact, sometimes you look at them and you go, man, if I only had half their talent, right? But I would be all in and I know I could get better results. We love to see people with an undivided focus. We get frustrated when we see people who aren't giving their all. That's especially true when it comes to our faith. And that's why I wrote the book Undivided. Undivided is an interactive journal for students that calls them to love God with an undivided heart. Scripture is very clear on this, that we can't have a divided heart. Our affections can't be divided when it comes to our love for God. We can't love God and the world. We can't share our affection for God with anything else. God calls us to an undivided love for Him and devotion for Him. The neat thing is, of course, that we know as mature Christians is that when we love God with an undivided heart, gosh, powerful things happen, both in our lives and in the world as God works through us. So that's what Undivided does. It challenges your students to seek God fully. And it unpacks this. It helps them understand how to do this. One of the ways we teach your students is a lot of the words from Paul, where Paul uses the language of imitation, where he calls us to imitate God. In fact, it's a great definition of discipleship in Ephesians 5:1-2. As dearly loved children, imitate God, right? Live our lives like Him. Paul looks at multiple places in Scripture. Paul looks at Christians he's interacting with. He says, imitate me as I imitate God. There's a powerful truth that if we can imitate God, it's a huge step towards living that undivided life, that our lives should look like God in this world, not the world. We challenge your students to embrace imitation. We give them in this book examples of people in Scripture who have lived undivided lives and show them what the result looks like, what the outcome looks like. And then finally, we really just challenge them to live that out in the world. We always like to end whenever we write 4-week devotional journals, 6-week journals, whatever. We like to end the last week with a really high challenge. We've equipped them, and now we want to challenge them to take the principles they've learned in this book and to live it out in the world. So that's what Undivided does. If this message resonates with you, if you'd like to see your students pursue God with an undivided heart, I just want to challenge you to check this book out. You can sample it here on the page, order a copy for yourself, for your students, and let us know if there's any questions you have that we can answer for you. Our team is always standing by. Listen, it's an honor to partner with you as you lead students closer to Christ. It's truly a pleasure to serve you as you do the work in your local church. And if we can help you, please don't hesitate to let us know. Take care.